Heart to Heart with Abba. Hello and welcome to Heart with Abba, the podcast where we celebrate the love, laughter, and little moments that make families shine. Whether you're a parent, grandparent, educator, or simply someone who believes in the magic of childhood, this is your place. Every week, we share real stories, inspiring voices, and joyful conversations that warm the heart and lift the spirit. So grab a cozy seat. It's time to go to Heart. Stop Smart sponsors Heart to Heart with Abagaba, your one-stop destination for stuffing and not medical concierge services for adults, teens, and children. For more information, visit www.staff-smart.org or call 480-875-6871. Welcome to Heart with Abagaba, a podcast where we celebrate family, honor childhood, and share stories of strength and resilience. I'm your host, Abby Dominguez, and today's episode holds a very special place in my heart. We are joined by a courageous woman whose story of survival, strength, and transformation is nothing short of extraordinary. She has faced unimaginable challenges and is now sharing her healing journey through her book, empowering others to reclaim their voices and their lives. Her story reminds us all of the importance of resilience, hope, and the power of our own voices. I am honored to introduce you to Kath Essing. Kath, welcome to Heart with Apagaba. I am conversing with you from Mesa, Arizona. Please tell our listeners where we are connecting from and add a short bio.
Thank you so much for having me. I am in the bottom of Australia at Bells Beach in the beginning of the Great Ocean Road. So I've been for a walk with my dog this morning, and I am an author and a speaker and an educator. And as you said, I've written a book called The Courage to Speak Your Truth, shifting the narrative on childhood sexual abuse.
First question, why did you write this book, The Courage to Speak Your Truth?
I my story, unfortunately, is very statistically average. I was abused by a male relative when I was a child, but I suppressed the memories until I was in my early 20s, and which unfortunately is what happens to a lot of children so they can function in their everyday world. And it took another 23 years from there for me to go to police about what had happened. And again, when I did some research, I realized that that was pretty average in Australia also. So the statistics across the world are pretty damning and terrifying. So it was really important to me that I created a resource for adult survivors so that they could find their voice and find a way and a path forward. Because so many parents end up remembering their own abuse when they have children themselves.
It's so sad. I'm so grateful that you were here to share your story with us. So, what were the three biggest lessons from your experience?
Firstly, I'd say that um, I'd always have spoken up. Like I've always the when I first remembered my abuse, I did tell family and friends, but I didn't tell them the whole story. So the first real lesson was that the speaking up was only a part of the healing process,
Yes.
and being really honest and using accurate language with people that I cared about was the next step. But I'm a natural people pleaser, so I curated what I told people, not because I wasn't true or not because I didn't believe it, but because I was worried about how it would impact my close family and friends.
Yeah.
So one of the first lessons is really speak your whole truth
Yes.
and unapologetically, and the right people will be there to support you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So secondly, I'd say that really, again, the speaking up is only a part of the puzzle, and what we need as a community and as a family and is to listen and really have the capacity to hear what is being said. And so that's the second reason I wrote the book. I wanted to create a resource for supporters of survivors so that they could understand the journey a little bit clearer, and that maybe they could help empathize and support those who are going through it. The third thing I suppose is not to believe everything you think. So,
Yeah.
that I had so many times when I had thoughts in my head that that I wasn't good enough, and that I would break everyone's heart if I told them the truth, and
Oh,
all of these fears and beliefs that weren't actually mine. So I've spent a long time navigating my own truth, and finding the courage to, weed out the things that aren't actually me, and the truth of who I am below all of it.
what would you do differently, if anything?
I think I would trust people more. I, that it's been amazing and freeing since writing the book and doing my talk. People knowing the whole truth is
Yeah.
just like, it's like a brick wall has come down.
Hmm.
And so I think, I guess I had to trust myself first, but I've really, um, I've had big conversations with my own children. I've got a daughter who's 14 and a son who's 10,
Hmm.
and I was worried about how it would impact them.
Hmm.
But the truth is, it's just made us closer because
Oh,
I explained to them that, my mum, she didn't know that she had to have a conversation with me about, trusting my instincts about different people, regardless of what relationship they had
hmm,
with us. And so I feel like that really the only defense as parents we have is open conversation and a close relationship.
yes.
So that's definitely what it's enabled, for our family. So I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. Can you tell us the story of your struggle or achievement?
I would say an achievement throughout the process of investigation, which took 18 months. I had an opportunity to call my abuser and confront him. And I hadn't seen him in 30 years and hadn't heard his voice. So it
Hmm.
was it was both a struggle and a triumph
Yeah,
intertwined.
yeah.
Um, it made it very real, but it also was really the pinnacle moment of me being able to reclaim myself and my
Yes,
story.
yes.
And, I finished the call saying to him, when I look in the mirror, I see a woman who knows her strength.
Oh,
And
yes.
and you are simply a man that tried to take it from her. And so that was the moment where I reclaimed that strength that's always been there. And obviously, I've let go of a lot of anger and resentment, but I'm so proud of the little girl who survived it all.
Oh, yes. And I am so proud of you. And that leads me to my next question. What would you tell your younger self?
That she was enough, that, to keep being playful and creative, and in some ways I've never really fitted. I've always had amazing friends and been very social, but I've been highly creative and saw the world from a different perspective. And I think that has kept me alive. I think it's kept me
Yeah.
sane. I believe in, as a little girl playing with angels and fairies, and
Yeah.
I think sometimes still as an adult, I still believe in, powers much bigger than myself. I don't really claim to know exactly what they are, but I trust in the process, and I
Mhm.
trust in being guided and supported, um, and I guess I just reinforced that she's on the right path, that
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
and yeah, she's here for big things.
Yes. Amen to that. She's here for big things. I love that. So I want to know, how has writing played a part in your healing?
It's definitely been a tool in which I have relied on. So before I remembered my memories, there was, fragments. I think if you think about the concept of a big jigsaw puzzle on the floor and trying to put the pieces in the right place.
Yeah.
And for me, writing helped me do that. And, some days I would literally just start writing saying, I don't know what I want to say, I have no words today, and and then they would start to come.
Mhm.
Other days, after I called my abuser. My mum and sister sent me a message asking if I was okay, and a poem just poured
Oh,
through me. So, it's a way in which I can articulate feelings and join the dots and put
mhm.
the puzzle pieces back where they need to go.
Oh, I just love that. So I heard you mention earlier that it took you a long time to go to the police. So why did it take so long to go to the police?
Initially, I was under the impression that there was a statute of limitations. So once you remember the abuse as an adult, there's a period of time in which you have to go to the police.
Yeah,
That's since been lifted, and so I found out that the rules had changed in 2020. So I then was in a position where I could go, but prior to that, I was under the impression that I'd left it too late.
mm,
So I think it also took that long to be strong enough to cope. It was a pretty
yeah,
harrowing
yeah,
process, and I didn't want to put my friends and family through something unnecessarily either.
right,
So I guess
right.
that's part of my problem is I always looked after other people, and that was part of it. It was like I just didn't want um, I didn't want to hurt anybody through the
Yeah,
process. And then it got to a point where I realized that I needed to do this for my kids. I needed to role model to them that I believed in justice and that
oh yeah,
I needed to reclaim my voice. And,
oh yeah,
and the ironic thing is that there wasn't enough to proceed to trial, which is also unfortunately the case for 99% of people who do go to police. But I still want to talk about the fact that it was such a powerful process, and
yeah.
I felt really supported by the police. And I think unless we do continue to tell them what's happening, how can they ever put the picture of the puzzle together about
Mhm,
what predators are out there? So I
mhm.
think it's a really important process.
Yeah, but I'm so proud of you that no matter how long it took, you went to the police. And in the meantime, how did you suppress the memories?
Well, to put it simply, the process of fight, flight, or freeze is tends to be what appears in which we're faced with a dangerous situation, as I was, and part of the flight, which I did, was disassociation. So I don't know if it was my spirit, my soul, but I left my body. So the memories that I had, the things that I see in my memory are actually from the ceiling, which I know sounds very bizarre, but that's why it took so long to make sense of any of it. And
Hmm.
by the time I came back in my body, and a lot of the healing had to happen in different stages because my body would remember some things and my
Yeah.
mind would remember others. Um, so I guess it took until my body was quite unwell, and it was like knocking, saying, "Come on, listen
Hmm.
to me, Kath. I'm here. I'm carrying all this pain,"
Hmm.
um, and that's why I guess it. And look, I suppressed it so I could have a happy childhood because
Yeah.
beyond those three incidents, I had a beautiful mum and dad and amazing extended family and great friends and. So I suppose I just sort of put it into the back of the cupboard until I was mature enough to deal with it.
To deal with it. Do you mind if I ask how old you were?
The
As a,
first time I was abused was at 5 years old,
oh,
and that was at my fifth birthday party. So
oh
that
my
happened,
goodness. At
yeah,
your fifth birthday party. Oh my goodness.
yeah, I know. And so that was the first time, and then I was at another function when I was 8,
Yeah.
and then when I was 11, that was the last incident that
Hmm.
occurred. So and unfortunately, the statistics are just so alarming. It's 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 5 boys worldwide will endure some form of sexual abuse before 18. And we just need to talk about this more so we can change those statistics. And, there's new ways that predators can reach our children now online. And so I think it's just important for parents to heal their own wounds so they can be more
Yes.
objective and aware. And that's what really I'm advocating for.
Why did you stay silent for so long? I know it's similar to the question I asked before, but I can't even imagine like being 5 and then 8 and then 11. It must be so hard and so devastating. I can't even imagine. I can't even wrap my neck around it.
Yeah, well, I guess, in addition to the um, freeze flight, there's also another thing called fawn, which is almost like becoming a, a people pleaser in such a way that, and I guess it is a trauma response that I just wanted people to like me and I wanted to
Yeah,
look after people. And so
yeah.
I think genuinely, um, my abuser told me how disappointed my parents would be if I was to tell them, and I
Oh,
mattered so much what people thought of me that
mhm.
I believed him.
Yeah.
And I can't refer to him directly for legal reasons, but he
I
was
totally respect that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and close enough to my parents for it to be absolutely devastating for them. And unfortunately, 90% of the time, children who endure sexual abuse know their perpetrator, and 50% of the time, they're related to them.
That's the most hardest part, you know.
It
That's the
is.
hardest part, like seeing them as a relative, trusting them, and then this horrible thing happening. It's just the hardest.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of people ask me how this person groomed me because there is a lot of conversations now, thankfully, happening around that topic. But I guess what people need to understand is when it is a relative, there is no need to build trust. There is no need to groom. They already
Yeah,
have access and they already have trust. And
yeah,
that's really what grooming is all about. So,
uh,
um, so I think the conversation with our children we need to have is not so much about not trusting strangers. It's about trusting your own instincts about what
love
feels
that.
safe and what doesn't. So that's the conversation I'm having with my kids.
I love that trust in our own instincts. And do you have any final thoughts to share with us today?
No, just that, that in terms of adults who are listening who may have, endured a similar thing, there's no right or wrong way to heal. And I think if every day you're just really kind to yourself and accept that it takes, one step each day to finally get to a place of peace, then that step's worth taking. And if that's little steps, that's okay too. But again, writing has been a tool for me that's free and it's accessible. And, that might just be what you need to connect to the little child within you that's still hurting. And that's definitely what helped me connect to that 5-year old, that 8-year old, and that
Yes,
11-year old.
yes, yes. Thank you for joining us for this powerful conversation with Kath Essing. Her journey is a reminder that no matter the hardship, healing is possible, and we all have the ability to rise above it. If you found strength or inspiration in today's episode, please share it with someone who may need to hear it. You can also take a moment to leave a review or share your thoughts on this episode. Let's continue to lift each other up and celebrate stories of courage and survival. Remember, you are not alone, and your story matters. Kath, please share your website, your social media handles, and anything you'd like us to know so we can follow you. Beautiful.
So you can buy my book on Amazon and it's called The Courage to Speak Your Truth, Shifting the Narrative on Childhood Sexual Abuse. It's also on Kindle and Audible. And my website is www.bespeak.au. And you can find all of my social media handles from there.
Wonderful. Kath, I want to thank you so much for joining us today on Heart to Heart with Abagaba. Your presence, story, and heart have added something special to this space. You've reminded us why family matters, that childhood is sacred, and sharing our truths is a gift to others. Have a beautiful day.
Oh, you too. It's been lovely connecting with you. Thank you so much.
Aspire Behavior Health also sponsors Heart to Heart with Abagaba. They offer monitoring, counseling, medication, and personal care services in a beautiful residential setting. Contact Aspire CBH at outlook.com or call 480-875-6871. Thank you for joining us for another heart to heart moment. I hope today's story touched your heart the way it touched mine. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone you love. And don't forget to subscribe to this and our YouTube channel so you never miss a moment of connection, inspiration, and joy. The stories and insights shared on Heart to Heart with Abagaba are personal and based on lived experiences. While some of our guests may be licensed professionals in their fields, the content of this podcast should not be considered legal, medical, or mental health advice. For expert guidance, please consult a qualified professional directly. Until next time, take care of your heart, take care of each other, and keep celebrating the love that makes us family. Celebrate!